You're listening to the Savage Lovecast, Dan Savage's sex and relationship show for grown-ups. If you're under 18, get out of here, young'un.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
I am not going to take the bait. I am not going to get upset about a Blue Jeans commercial, and I'm not going to hate on Sydney Sweeney because some hateful people, including the President of the United States, seem to like her so much and like her for all the wrong reasons. Backing up, I am not a fan of Euphoria, the HBO series about wasted high school students that made Sweeney a star. First, I'm allergic to shows about high school kids starring actors in their 20s and 30s. And Euphoria portrays addicts as tormented poetic souls. And while I have sympathy for addicts and I have moved heaven and earth to help addicts in my own family, I don't think addiction is particularly interesting or poetic or existentially compelling. It is a human experience. There are lessons in every human experience for all humans. But addiction, if you've seen it from the inside, it isn't entertaining. It's just fucking sad. And while I will admit that the occasional glimpse of Jacob Elordi's ass got me through season 1, I am made of flesh and blood. He's a star now too, and I can see his ass in other films. So I didn't watch season 2 or 3 of Euphoria. I get my Elordi fix elsewhere. Anyway, let's listen to a clip from the ad that upset a bunch of people, and then we will listen to a bunch of clips posted on TikTok and Twitter by those upset people on the left whose hearts are absolutely in the right place. And then we will listen to a bunch of clips from right-wingers responding to the clips posted by upset lefties, and then a clip of the President of the United States. No, actually, you know what? Let's not. Let us not listen to any of that shit. I did say I am not taking the bait, and here I am kind of taking the fucking bait, but no clips. I will resist the clip bait. I am not even going to mention the name of the Blue Jeans company the ad was for. The ad was a play on words. Jeans, jeans. Good genes, Genes, a reference to Sweeney's looks that she inherited from her parents, blonde hair, blue eyes, big tits, and what we in gayland refer to, at least when men have them, as cocksucking lips, and good jeans, Jeans, the pants and jacket Sweeney was wearing. Denim on denim used to be considered a fashion crime. So, again, no clips. I'm not going to listen to the voice of the President of the United States this morning, but I am going to riff for a second. The ad was a little provocative. Conventionally attractive white woman who has been embraced by the right, playfully talking up her jeans at a moment when pro-natalist white nationalists are out there talking up the importance of white women who look like Sydney Sweeney having more babies. And the easily provoked were predictably provoked, and the right, the people who are easily triggered by easily triggered libs, were triggered, and nothing re-triggers the already easily triggered libs like triggered right-wingers triggered by triggered libs. And around the drain we go. There have been, by some counts, 400,000 segments on Fox News over the last week about the Sydney Sweeney jeans ad and the reaction to it. And very few, if any, segments about how the Trump-corrupted FBI combed through the Epstein files and redacted Trump's name. There's so much to be angry about right now. The EPA loosening regulations that'll allow companies to keep dumping forever chemicals into our drinking water, the ongoing, ever-escalating horrors in Gaza, the bribes, the corruption, the ballroom. So much to be upset about that I just can't find it in me to be upset about this ad for Blue Jeans. But I do want to say this, good jeans aren't just for white girls with blue eyes, big tits, and cocksucking lips. Being a gay man who goes to the gym, I have heard people toss the phrase good jeans around for years in reference to guys, a particular kind of guy, not white guys, but guys who barely have to lift, guys who eat whatever they want and eat whoever they want and get instant results the moment they look at a gym. I've heard good genes and genetically gifted said by and about black guys, Latino guys, Asian guys, and white guys, guys with good glutes, guys with good hair, guys with cock-sucking lips. Anybody can have good genes. So I'm not going to get upset about this, even if I have to work at not getting upset about this. And I do have to work at it, especially today while we're recording, the day Trump put out a Truth Social post saying how much he loves Sydney Sweeney, who is, it appears, a registered Republican in Florida, which is certainly a choice. But in a country where half the population is Republican, one or two celebrities going to be Republican too, and I'm going to have to be zen about that because I am exhausted by all the other things I'm upset about right now. And if I don't self-regulate, my head is going to explode. But I am happy to say that we live in a world where blonde girls with blue eyes and big tits get to be hot. But not just blonde girls with blue eyes and big tits. The biggest star to emerge from Euphoria is Zendaya. And she's not blonde and doesn't have blue eyes or big tits. And she is by far the biggest star. Sydney Sweeney got the Blue Jeans campaign. Good for Sydney Sweeney. Zendaya got 2 Spider-Man movies and 2 Dune movies and Challengers. My God, Zendaya got to make out with Mike Faced. Zendaya got to live my dream. And when we say Zendaya got Spider-Man, we don't just mean the movies. Zendaya is engaged to Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, and he isn't genetically gifted. He didn't get good genes, at least where height is concerned. He's 5'7". Zendaya towers over him. And just as I'm trying to wrap this up, my husband comes in and asks me if I've seen Beyonce's new ad campaign for Blue Jeans. Beyonce has much better jeans to sell us. Jeans. She's selling us Levi's. But the simultaneous existence of a hot Beyonce blue jeans ad and a hot Sydney Sweeney blue jeans ad proves that beauty is not a racially coded zero-sum game anymore. We live in a world where Sydney Sweeney is hot and Beyonce is hot, and a short guy like Tom Holland got the hottest girl. All right, coming up on today's show, we've got a new Afteraction report from a woman who tried something that I'm guessing very few of you have tried or will want to try after listening to our latest Afteraction report. Also, a woman grapples with the ethics of being a findom, and a gay man is tortured by a crush on a straight pal/coworker who treats him like crap. Jokes on the straight male coworker, though, because the caller, he gets off on being treated like crap. And on the Magnum, Erika Moen returns. She is the genius behind Oh Joy sex toy. Erika's here with some advice for a caller whose dog ate her vibrator. To hear my conversation with Erika and to get the whole show, bonus Savage Love Letters, invites to Savage Love Live. We've got a new one coming right up, and more. Become a supporter of the show by subscribing today at savage.love. All right, let's get to that very first call. This episode is sponsored by Hims, affordable access to ED treatment, all online. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/savage. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Foria. Foria crafts 100% all-natural sexual wellness products so you can experience deeper intimacy and transcendent moments of sexual pleasure solo or with your partner or partners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting foriawellness.com/savage. That's FORIA wellness.com/savage. This episode is brought to you by Paired, the app for couples who want to strengthen their relationships. Go to paired.com/savage to get a 7-day free trial and 25% off if you sign up for a subscription.
Everyone, I'm in my 20s and I wanted to ask about findom, based on a dynamic I experienced. A few months ago, you interviewed a financial dominatrix, but you didn't really talk about the other side, the one who pays. A while ago, I started chatting online with a guy who shares mutual friends with me. They told me he's a good person that has a fetish for findom. At that time, I was in a monogamous relationship, and I had no intention of engaging in this dynamic with him, but I was intellectually curious and decided to talk to him. He shared that he spent around $2 million over the past 5 years. Ever since he discovered findoms through Twitter. He's not poor or in immediate danger financially, but he said he wished he has a home on his own and admitted this kink runs his life. It's not just financial, it affects his functioning, he's addicted. As I started researching it through forums and other sources, and I realized that findom can be especially addictive, maybe even more than kicks in the BDSM world. It all happens with a click of a button, instant gratification with every transfer, like gambling or online shopping. It's fast, easy to repeat, and intense. In these forums, I found many men who describe this kink as a full-blown addiction, one that leads them into debt, emotional distress. Many describe it as rooted in the desire of self-erasure. The more painful the financial loss, the more intense the pleasure. Months later, when I found out I was single, he asked me if I wanted to play Findom. I agreed just to try it once. I have a dom energy and I was curious. He also promised that if I changed my mind, I could return the money back. That night, he sent me about $1,000. It turned me on, and I also like receiving the money. 2 days later, he sent me another 1K. He said that if I asked for 10 grand, he would have sent it later. He told me he spent around $30,000 that month. A few days ago, he asked me to play again, and I said no, and he later told me that he paid someone else instead because he couldn't stop himself. On the one hand, I get why it's pleasurable. It was somewhat arousing for me as well, and the money was nice. It feels simplistic to say the DOMs exploit men. They're offering service. But even when the DOM sets limits, men like just him go to someone else. So here's my question. I don't think I'll do it again, although it's tempting, but I'll have to hear your take. You're a very kink positive. But what about the kink that clearly destroys people, potentially? Is it ethical to take money from a client like that? He is not an exception. This is very common in this kink community as I researched. So let me know.
So I heard about this thing. I did a little research into this thing. Turns out it's a terrible thing that destroys people. And then someone asked me to do this thing. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Listen, the comparison you make between Findom for the sub, giving, sending, and gambling addiction, I think is really apt. Potentially, it could be a problem for someone because of that instant payoff. That reward is a little bit like online gambling. And you could see how the combination of you're not going to win. Like when you gamble online, you might win every once in a while, which can fuel your addiction. But you are going to get a different kind of positive reinforcement, which is attention, which is an erection, which is an orgasm, if this is indeed your kink. Has it destroyed people? Have fin subs given more than they can afford to give, gone into debt, destroyed their lives? Yeah. That is a thing that some people who have an out of control addiction to this kind of play have done. People have also destroyed their lives gambling, smoking, drinking, using drugs. People have destroyed their lives by having way more sex than is reasonable for them as an individual to have. We all have those friends who have really high libidos, who have a lot of sex partners, and it comes from a healthy place of desire. And we have those friends who we watch basically dash themselves against the rocks and destroy themselves with sex. The same thing can be playing out in the lives of some of these fin subs. It would be great if there was an ethical board that oversaw people doing findom work, and you had to get the good findoming seal of approval in order to hang out your shingle and do findoming. But part of what people are aroused by and playing with here is danger and fear and being on the edge. And you can tell people that this is risky. You can tell people that there are bad actors out there who might exploit them, and they should look for the findoms who only take or are only willing to be given or sent a reasonable amount and aren't trying to drain your kids' college funds. But some people want that dark figure in their lives, that malicious figure who is taking in a cruel and sadistic way. And what are you going to do? How are you going to jump in between that person, their online banking account, the internet, and the hot guy or woman on the other end of a Twitter account flipping off the camera? Yeah, people should be aware of the risks and the potential for addiction. People should be aware of the risks and the potential for addiction when they walk into a bar. People should be aware of the risks and the potential for addiction when they walk into a riverboat casino. People should be aware of the risks when they when they feed this wolf. There are two wolves inside you, the wolf who wants financial security and the wolf in some people who wants to give all of their money away to a hot, cruel taker. And what do? Well, it depends on which wolf you feed and whether you can keep things in balance and proportionate. You say this man that you did this findumbing with has given away millions of dollars, and he still seems to have money to give. If he's a centimillionaire, him giving away millions of dollars to findoms is a tiny percentage of his net worth, and he can swing it. If he's living on food stamps and he has dependents or has a spouse and they have a shared bank account, shared finances, yeah, this would not be okay. But if he's single and you're single and it is an exchange of cash for a particular kind of service, an erotic service, erotic attention in an attention economy, an eroticized attention economy. And yeah, some of it makes me uncomfortable. I want people who do findom not to be Republicans, to be able to have empathy and project themselves into the other person's experience and not to take advantage. But I know that my opinion on that isn't going to stop people who don't care. And it isn't going to stop people who want their findom to be that person that doesn't care if they are destroyed or put into serious debt or have to go without eating. Also, something to bear in mind when you look at those online forums where guys talk about being destroyed and ruined and addicted, that is part of the fantasy for a lot of fin subs. Some people in those forums may absolutely be telling the truth about their experience. They're ruined. They're sad they ever got wrapped up in this. They're in debt. And it's true. Other guys may be spinning those stories out because it makes them hard to fantasize about being in that position. That is their ultimate fantasy, is that kind of ruination. So, should you do it again? No, not if you think it's a bad thing that only a bad person would do. You definitely shouldn't do it. That does clear the way, the decks for bad actors. The first person I ever met who was doing findom was really conscientious about only accepting what a nice pair of shoes, tennis shoes, would cost and nothing more. And the guy that he was findumbing, and this is not Terry, speaking of shoes and shoe addictions being funded by online subs, the guy that he was findumbing, who'd never had a findom before, wanted somebody greedier who would take more and moved on to somebody greedier who indeed took more. So there was ever an area of life where caveat emptor applied, this is it.
Hey, Dan. This is a 42-year-old, mostly straight woman. I have a question most recently about something that you say often, but most recently, episode 974, where you're talking about the zone of erotic autonomy when people are masturbating and thinking about someone they know. So in a DS dynamic, this doesn't apply, right? Like, I have this desire to control my sub's thoughts about me. Like, if you're going to masturbate about me, you have to ask permission, or I don't want to be thought about when you masturbate, things like that. That's outside of what you're referring to as the zone of erotic autonomy, right? Because it feels hot to me to, like, get to control that aspect of someone's fantasizing.
Feels hot to control this person's fantasies and when and whether they're allowed to think about you while they masturbate or don't masturbate. But what's the enforcement mechanism here? How can you prevent him? He can pretend, or he can tell you that he's ceding this control over to you, that he's handing this control over to you. But it's just like somebody telling you that they're your slave. They're not really your slave. It's just a posture and an erotic game. And maybe he's really good at obeying your orders, and maybe he won't masturbate thinking about you if he doesn't expressly get your permission to masturbate thinking about you. But he could always just go ahead and fucking do it anyway, because what you think about while you're masturbating, when you masturbate, hopefully when you're alone, not on the bus, please, your brain is going to go wherever your brain goes, wherever you want it to go, wherever you allow it to go, and nobody outside your brain can really control that. So you can play with the idea of a power exchange here where he says to you, I no longer have this zone of erotic autonomy, or I'm conceding this chunk of my zone of erotic autonomy to you, and I will obey you and not exercise my rights here within this zone of erotic autonomy to my erotic autonomy. But it's just a game. It's just pretend. So you don't have to feel at all conflicted about it or like you're a bad dom, because you're just sharing a fantasy about something that is ultimately, I hope you would know, impossible and unenforceable. Although, if you have the kind of DS relationship where you've eroticized some sort of punishments, him coming to you and confessing when he has violated your orders and acted on his erotic autonomy and jacked off about you anyway allows then for you to punish him in whatever way it is that you two enjoy, or he enjoys and you enjoy punishing him. So, yeah, you're overthinking this. Order him not to masturbate thinking about you. Order him to tell you when he does anyway. And you will be reminded at those times when he tells you he has anyway, that his zone of erotic autonomy still exists, and you are ultimately not able to fully control it or him. All right, for this next call, you're going to need to turn up the volume to hear the question. Trust me, you're going to want to. It's worth it. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Hims. We talk about ED now and again on this show. I know it can make some people feel out of control. Hims lets you take back control with personalized treatment options, including daily meds that support more spontaneous moments. Through Hims, you can access personalized prescription treatment options for ED, like hard mints and Sex RX plus climax control if prescribed. Hims offers access to ED treatment options ranging from hard mints to trusted generics that cost 95% less than brand names if prescribed. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatments that put your goals first. This isn't a one-size-fits-all care that forgets you in the waiting room. It's your health and goals put first with real medical providers, making sure you get what you need to get the results you and your partner want. Think of Hims as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatments for ED and more, all in one place. To get simple online access to personalized affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/savage. Let them know the Lovecast sent you, hims.com/savage to schedule your free online visit, hims.com/savage. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. All right, it is time for another installment of Afteraction Report, where I talk with someone who's tried something for the first time, someone who's done something they always wanted to do but were nervous to try, or someone who's done something their partner wanted to do, and we find out what it was and how it went. Joining me for this installment of Afteraction Report, Sam in the Southeast. Hey, Sam in the Southeast, how are you?
Hey, Dan, I'm great. How are you?
Really good. Really happy to have you. So what did you try?
So I tried some piss play, and specifically, I guess you'd say a piss enema.
And how is that piss enema administered?
Direct. No implements or anything like that. My partner had a penis and just went right into my butt from there.
Okay, some people have a question about that, obviously, which is, can you pee while you're hard? Some guys say you can't pee when you're hard. If he got his penis in your butt, was it hard when it went in and then he let it get soft so he could pee, or is your partner a mutant who can pee hard?
So great question. That was kind of our question. The whole thing was sort of like a wonder what if, wonder how, thing. I had to do a recap before this call, actually. So I called him and I was like, you were hard, right? Or what happened? How do we get that figured out? And he says that he was. I mean, we got it in there, but I think that he lost his erection over the course of the stream coming out.
Okay,
Maybe.
So also specific to your particular action here, why piss play? Why do you guys want to do this?
I have very little experience, and I think he had none. but I'd seen a porn clip that I actually thought was kind of funny, where this AFAB person is like rollerblading on a trail and then, does some butt stuff with a guy, and then he peed in her butt. And we had this inside joke between us that was like, oh no, he peed in Barbie's butt. And
I slipped and fell and landed on a dick that then peed in my butt. That happens when you're out rollerblading. It's right there on the box with all of the cautions and buyer beware notifications. So how did it go? Was it fun? Did you like it?
It was fun. I mean, I think we were kind of doing it for science, but it was also fun. Yeah, I liked it.
But it wasn't something you'd been masturbating about since you were 12 and always wanted to do and finally did. This was something that you saw somebody else do it and you were like, I wonder what that feels like. Seems harmless. Going to give that a try?
Yeah, I'm just kind of a lifelong learner, and I have a real experimental way in my sex life too. So I just am continuing to check off boxes as I age.
Lifelong learners like mahjong or getting someone to piss in my butt.
Enema, yeah.
So would you do it again?
I think I would do it again.
Have you done it again?
We haven't done it again.
How long has it been since you did it that first time?
Some months, and we have changed the nature of our relationship some since then also, so that's a factor.
So would you do it again with your current partner in their current partner status or with somebody else?
I think maybe both either, but yeah, I would have I would approach the experience with some new skill, or like I have some questions about trying it in different ways for sure.
What would you do differently?
For one, there are hollow plugs that I feel like mostly they're marketed to gay men more than they are to AFAB people, but
Yes.
That would definitely
They
make
certainly are.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel like I know for sure. I've seen some of those that I feel like would really make the whole thing, the mechanics of the thing easier. And now that I'm not doing it for science, I don't need to think about the mechanics. But the big one is that I would definitely, we weren't planning ahead to do this, and I would douche ahead of time.
Oh gosh, yes. I'm so sorry that you didn't call me before to ask for tips, because I would have recommended like it goes from piss enema to piss douche really quickly if you don't douche first.
Oh, it was that was the only part that was such a bummer. So that's my cautionary portion of the tale. Plan ahead.
My last question was any tips for anybody else out there who might want to try this, and there's the tip.
That's the
douche
tip.
First.
Douche first. And all you need is just the tip. So
And one other question. Was this just like, okay, this is for science, we're going to do this, and then I'm going to run out and like crap all this out? Or was this like folded into sex? Were you having sex when you did this? Did you have sex after? Was there an orgasm for him or you involved in this? Was it piss play that was sexual, or was it just intimacy and bungee jumping and doing something crazy?
Right. Well, we were on vacation at the time, and it was just like a total fuck fest. I'm a single parent, and so I was without my child, so I was feeling really like liberated and joyful. We'd been having a ton of sex, and I think that's what got us to that.
I just ran out of things to do. You ran out of holes to fill and things to fill those holes with. We ran out
of stuff to put in the holes, Dan. But yeah, I don't think I came at that from that round, but there was a lot of sex and a lot of orgasm in the like 48 hours around it.
Curious whether you peed on or in him.
No, but I am thinking about peeing on or in him or someone else.
Awesome. Well, give us a call when you try that, and we'll have another after action report. Sam in the Southeast, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your piss play story. You don't hear a lot of piss play stories from AFAB people and opposite sex relationships with AMAB people. It does seem to be like relative. It's a kink still. It's rare, but like gay men talk about this. Gay men like get into piss play and can be pretty open about it. But like you rarely hear straight people talk about piss play.
We're both queer and like very queer, so maybe that helps. But yeah, sorry, I'm like, no apology needed. I called you straight.
I withdraw the accusation.
I'm like, ow, my biphobia. But no, I am happy to share because anybody could enjoy this.
Sam in the Southeast, thank you so much for coming on the After Action Report.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam, for sharing. If you've tried something for the first time and you want to debrief with me about it, write up your experience and send it to q@savage.love with the subject line Afteraction Report. Good experience, meh, mid, even bad, we want to hear about it. Shoot us an email, come on the show, and let's talk. Are you fortunate enough to be sleeping with a lady? Treat her like the queen she is and treat her to some Foria products. Sex oil, it's fun to say, it's even more fun to use. Awaken Arousal Oil is like a juicy warm-up that helps you get really turned on, increasing your pleasure, deepening your orgasms, and strengthening your connection with your partner by making it more tactile and slippery. Awaken uses CBD and warming, sensation-inducing organic botanicals that enhance arousal, sensitivity, access to orgasm, and just overall pleasure and connection. Intimacy melts are insertables that can help you experience deep internal waves of pleasure, and sex oil lubricates during sex and creates an erotic experience for both or all of you. Their pleasure set includes all three, and I highly recommend you try this mind-blowing triad of pleasure products. So, as your resident sexologist and your gay uncle, you have my blessing. Go ahead, treat yourself to a juicy, deep, sensual experience with a bottle of Foria. Foria is offering a special deal right now for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting foriawellness.com/savage or use code SAVAGE at checkout. That's FORIA wellness.com/savage for 20% off your first order. I recommend trying their new massage oil combined with their Awaken Arousal Oil. You can and will thank me later.
Hey, Dan. So I have this friend, this straight guy friend, and God, I am just like one, I've always thought he was so crazy and really liked him. And we hung out for like a good year or so, but we were smoking pot and other stuff, drinking and what's it called. But like this friend of mine, when we were together, he'd find ways to maybe do stuff for him, like I do something he didn't like even a little, and he'd be like, you know what, rub my back. Or like, rub my fucking feet, bitch. And sometimes he'd even like make me get on my knees and like pour a shot down my throat. And you know, I mean, I always thought he was crazy handsome, even though I'm literally like double his size. And you know, I was lifting weights all the time at the time. And he's kind of a skinnier Mexican dude. It didn't really matter because he just had all this power. I'm having a hard time letting this one go because I've been with guys that love in the past and didn't love me back. None of them are like the exact like iteration of like what I fantasize about. You know, some dude was like, get on the ground, bitch, like, shut up, bitch. And do as I say. But then also like kind to me when it comes to other things. You know, like when we were together and we'd watch stuff and watch movies and smoke pot and he'd be good to me. So we eat together, you know. He was like nice and mean. And oh, it just drives me crazy. I don't even know what to do about it because, I mean, obviously just now I worked at the church party and I've had a few drinks. But I'm specifically drinking lots of anything about him. And he reminds me of this bully I had in middle school and high school. How do I get past this? Like, how do I stop? Because I work with this guy, and it's been a few years that we've worked together, and I don't really see either of us leaving work soon. And I see him sometimes, like, from across the fucking warehouse, and he'll take his hat off, and his hair is slicked back, and I'm just, like, seriously in complete awe of this dude. He's half my size, and all the other dudes I've ever been to were way bigger than me. Like, I like getting my ass beat by men stronger than me. I get so nervous when I speak to him, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say. So what do I do? Because I'm pretty sure that, like, if I tell him any of this, I won't be able to be the same way with him. And I'm pretty sure that we can't go back to the way that we were before once that's happened. What do I do? Can I distance myself from this guy? Can you help me find a way to, like, make it so I am not thinking about him all day and, like, missing him all the time?
Before I answer this question, I just want to say we circled back to the caller and got their permission to play the call, the question that they phoned in when they were obviously shit-faced, hammered, diminished capacity. So we have their consent to play this question. All right, caller. Oh my God, what do you do? What a Yahtzee. First, I want to just zoom out and say, what a fucking Yahtzee. You're gay and you're attracted to this guy, and this kind of bullying, this kind of hazing is something that you've always fantasized about. And either he intuited that or this is just who he is, and you guys locked into this dynamic that is something that you've always wanted to experience from a guy, and you didn't have to ask the guy for it, and you're not there on your knees while he's pouring a shot down your throat, thinking he's just going through the motions of being this bully to please you, but this is who he actually is, and you guys just snapped together. And you want me to ruin this for you? You want me to talk you out of continuing to see this guy and enjoying this for as long as it lasts? Yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that. I want you to keep seeing this guy and hanging out and calling in with regular updates and status reports. Look, the thing you have with him, you could have definitely with somebody else who is gay. There are gay men out there who are turned on as doms and tops by the shit that turns you on as a sub and a bottom. This kind of bullying, ordering around, bitch, get on your knees, and this shifting between friendship or romance, affection, and domination and control. The idea a lot of people have about BDSM or DS relationships is that it's always the top snarling and ordering the bottom around, or the sub around, or the slave around, and there's no affection there, no affection expressed. And in reality, there's often a great deal of affection and respect. And that is, in a way, if you think about it slightly differently, part of what makes it interesting and kinkier, because this person is not just abusing or ordering around or calling someone a bitch that they don't care about, but abusing and ordering around and calling someone a bitch that they do care about. The problem here, in your particular circumstances, if you say to this guy, these games we're playing are fucking with my head because I'm really attracted to you. It doesn't sound like you're out to him. Really attracted to you. And this shit makes my dick hard. It might ruin it. He might stop then. He may think it's funny hot or funny arousing to him in some way that's not necessarily sexual, even if it is sensuous for him, this skinny guy, to be ordering you, this bigger guy, around, and you somehow do whatever he tells you to do in the moment, and that he knows he has the power to shift from buddies on the couch, smoking a bowl together and playing video games, to ordering you to massage his feet or just kneel in front of him. Yeah. If he understood that as explicitly sexual or erotic for you, it might stop. So if you wanted to stop, you could tell him that if you feel safe coming out to him, to this guy that you work with at a warehouse, and you might not feel safe coming out to this guy that you work with at a warehouse. But I just want to highlight here that, when you hear about fraternity hazings and you hear about straight guys pouring Tabasco sauce into each other's mouths on a dare or punching each other, think of that Barbara Kruger painting, I invent elaborate rituals to touch the bodies of other men. Some of that might be going on, but there may be some sublimated desire here, and he may experience this as erotic, but not as sexual. That the dynamic and the control and the power for him is obviously arousing. He's aroused to do it, even if it's not making his dick hard, but it's not necessarily experienced by him as sexual. Just like the frat house where the pledge master is ordering the pledges around, there's some erotic component to it, but it may not be experienced as sexual. Or the sexuality, the erotic tension may be a subtext that if it's made text, could interfere with the ability of everybody in the frat house to enjoy the hazing rituals the way that they do, with the plausible deniability of no homo. If you rip the no homo plausible deniability from this guy's hands, he may not keep doing this to, with, and for you. And maybe that's what you want. You want to stop being so obsessed with this guy. Maybe you should get your resume out there, get a job at a different warehouse. You don't have to look at him when he takes his hat off and his hair falls down his neck. And it'll pass. But right now, if I were in your shoes, I think I would lean into this and enjoy it for as long as it lasts. Sounds like it'll run its course at some point. And get out there, get on Recon, get on some of the fetish apps and sites and find a guy who is gay like you and wants this kind of dynamic from the other side as a top, the dynamic that you enjoy as a bottom and a sub. You stumbled into an early formative DS sexual experience with someone, and the burden that you're going to carry forward for the rest of your life is trying to replicate this with some other man. And you may never be able to experience the intensity that you've experienced with this guy again, because you didn't have to ask for it and he didn't ask you. He took. That's a Yahtzee. And you're not being abused if this isn't going into a violent or dangerous place, if he's not draining your bank account. I think you should fucking enjoy the ride, knowing that of its own course, inevitably, invariably, at some point, it will end. Until then, bitch, get down on your knees and enjoy it. This episode is sponsored by Paired. It's an app for couples who want to strengthen their relationships. It was founded on the simple belief that real, lasting love is a daily practice. All of Paired's content is backed by experts and relationship therapists, and it's proven to work. You and your partner download the app, pair together, and every day Paired gives you personalized questions, quizzes, and games to stay connected, deepen your conversations, all while having fun. The best part is that you can't see your partner's answer until you've answered yourself, so it's a safe space to have an open and honest discussion about your relationship. No faking it, no pretending, just genuine connection. This is a great way to learn how to communicate better, open up to each other more, and argue less. If you have difficult topics to discuss, like finances or starting a family, Paired helps to get you talking and get things on the table. And if you're a new couple, Paired is a great way to learn more about each other. Whether you're just a few days into your new relationship or you've been together for a very long time, like me and Terry, find the time to connect with your partner and nourish your relationship like we're doing right now with Paired. Start strengthening your relationship in an easy, fun way. It only takes 5 minutes a day. Head to paired.com/savage to get a 7-day free trial and 25% off when you sign up for a subscription. Just head to paired.com/savage. Let them know the Lovecast sent you. Sign up today.
Hey Dan, I'm a 34-year-old gay Magnum sub from Canada. So I've been dating a guy for a year. It's been great. He's compassionate. He's a great communicator. He's hot as breakfast, and the sex has been amazing. A few months ago, we started talking about moving in together. He owns a house. I rent a condo, so it only makes sense that I'd move in with him. So we started making plans and set planned move-in date of September 1st. So last weekend, for his 40th birthday, we went on a road trip. A bunch of his friends came along. His brother flew in for it. We saw a ton of theater. We rented an Airbnb where we all stayed together. And I did have fun, but things felt a little bit off between us. I figured it was just because we're part of a big group of people and doing everything as a group. So it probably wasn't a big deal, but when we got back, we had a chat, and I just mentioned that, it's probably nothing, but I just felt a little off. And he agreed. He said that he had also felt some distance over the weekend. And then he told me that he's been feeling less sparkle lately, which wasn't clear to me at first what he meant. As in, he felt less sparkly, or he felt less sparkle in the relationship and in me. So when I asked, it was in the relationship. He said that he's not sure he's ready for such a big commitment as moving in. He said he has an independent streak, and that he sometimes finds it hard to balance maintaining his independence and also making space for another person in his life. And he said that he had been feeling this way since before the trip. And I had no idea that he felt any of these doubts. So where do I go from here? I feel a little hurt, a little sad, feel pretty anxious. But those aren't exactly feelings that are going to bring extra sparkle into our relationship, so I probably need to find a way to not focus on them. I know that trying to persuade him is probably counterproductive. Moving is hard. Moving in with someone is hard. So I know it's only going to work if it's something that he actually wants. So do I just ride this out and hope that it's normal cold feet? He'll get past it and things will be back on track. I guess I should be prepared to delay moving in. That will come with some public embarrassment. I mean, I told my parents I was moving. I told my friends I was moving. And I guess I just need to be ready to swallow that. Because more importantly than anything, I want this relationship to work. So how do I make sure this crack doesn't escalate into a breakup?
This guy that you've been seeing for a year is a 40-year-old grown-ass adult gay man. He did not realize in the last 2 weeks that he has an independent streak, that he has a hard time making space in his life for someone else or in his living space for someone else, and that he's afraid of the commitment that moving in represents. If those are things that he didn't already know about himself at 40 fucking years old, he's not in good working order. So either he's not in good enough working order for you to waste one more minute of your life on, or your time or energy, attention, focus on, because he doesn't know himself well enough to make a commitment to another human being, or he's just saying this shit because the relationship for him has run its course. I don't feel the sparkle in the relationship. I told you I wanted us to move in together, but now I'm not sure. Now suddenly I realize I may have commitment issues that I was completely unaware of at 37. But now, and I wasn't unaware of at 39 when we met, but they've come into sharper focus in the last 2. That's just the sort of shit people say when they're dumping you. But dumping you very, very fucking slowly. Or dumping you in such a way that what they really want is for you to dump them. They're forcing your hand. They don't have the courage or the basic human decency and respect to end the relationship. So they just start making things feel very tentative and conditional in a way it didn't feel a month or two ago or 6 months ago, in the hopes that, I don't know, you'll get sick of it and walk. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to get sick of it and walk right the fuck now. The things he's said to you are variations on "it's not you, it's me," which nobody says to someone that they want to spend the rest of their lives with. The only leverage you have right now is your presence. And feels like he needs to be, at his age and a year into this relationship, all in ya or all out of ya. Not halfway out, not pull halfway the fuck out. And if he does pull halfway the fuck out, when someone pulls halfway the fuck out of you, your job to pull the rest of the way out, to stand the fuck up, pick up your pants, go get your toothbrush, and go. And then maybe your absence, your refusal to keep showing the fuck up for someone who isn't sure they want to be with you, that is the only move that might make him realize the mistake that he's made. That in the missing you, in the month you don't see him after you slide the rest of the way off his dick and go get your toothbrush and leave, he may come to his senses and realize you are what he wants. But this is literally your only move right now. Read the fucking tea leaves, spot the "it's not you, it's me" of this all, and break the fuck up with him. All right, time for listener feedback. First up, a few comments listeners left in the comment threads about last week's show at savage.love. Says Thingamajig, I agree with Dan's advice to the Airbnb host who found a guest's vibrator, but I think Dan got the calculus of embarrassment wrong. Dan said the couple already knows they left the vibrator and already knows it's been found, so they have already experienced embarrassment. Even if both hypotheses are correct, I don't think the conclusion follows. What really makes embarrassment sting is shared knowledge. I did an embarrassing thing, and you know that I did, and I know that you know, and you know that I know that you know. That's why never talk about it is the prescription when your mom catches you jacking off. Says Green Bean Betty to the caller in the monopoly marriage. I just want to say I understand what you're struggling with. I'm in a mono-poly marriage myself. Even with my spouse's support, there can still be a lot of internalized guilt for loving more than one person. If our spouses were dating too, I think we wouldn't feel so conflicted. But Dan is right. It is 100% okay to have time to ourselves for our passions, whatever they are. Yes, we must be diligent in finding a balance between caring for our lifelong partner and our other partners, but I'd venture that being poly makes us more aware of displaying devotion to our spouses, not less. And finally says, bye Dan fan about the same call. Dan, somehow you doubled the number of nights the poly caller was spending with her girlfriend. She said once every other week, not once a week, like you said. 1 night out of 14 doesn't sound like much. Aside from that, perfect answer, Dan. I do think she feels guilty because society says that any non-monogamy is cheating. She should indeed talk to her husband and get the reassurance that he's fine with it, and she should know that there is nothing unethical about ethical non-monogamy. All right, for more listener comments from our superstar commenters, and there are a lot of fascinating listener comments about cock size and the metric system in the comment thread on last week's show. Go to savage.love, click on the latest Lovecast or column or struggle session, scroll to the bottom, and join the convo. And now, 1 or 2 or 3 of the voicemail Savage Love listeners left on our answering machine about last week's show.
Hi, Dan. This is a message for the woman in 978 who was worried she was not spending enough time with her husband because she is seeing her girlfriend every other week. I totally agree with what Dan said. I think time apart is really good for couples. And it also doesn't sound like you're sacrificing that much time with your husband to be with your girlfriend, which makes me wonder if it's more of an issue of quality rather than quantity. I really relate to what you said about, you only have one life to live. You have this amazing love in your life, your relationship with your husband. And I wonder if there are other ways of honoring that rather than quantity of time alone. Like, are you guys dating? Are you having novel experiences together? Are you vacationing together? Like, are there ways you can create special experiences with him that maybe will make it feel more balanced with the type of time you're having with your girlfriend?
Hi, I'm calling for the caller who was on episode 978, who was feeling guilty for not spending as much time with her husband and instead spending time with her girlfriend. I wonder if the normativity here is just assuming that guilt is an emotion that's pointing to something bad. Maybe it's just a strong emotion describing something that you're wanting. Maybe you just want more time with your husband and also time with your girlfriend. Like, maybe there are things you want to do with your husband that you've kind of lost track of that you want to enjoy and get back to. And your guilt is just a way of letting you experience the fact that you miss him and you love him and you want to have some more quality time and experiences with him. That doesn't necessarily have to come at the expense of ending another loving relationship. So I wonder if you lift up that veil of guilt and just look underneath the covers of that a little bit, if it might be telling you more about desire than fear.
Dan, this is a bi guy from Northern California calling in response to a caller from episode 978. The person with the quandary about returning the sex toy from an Airbnb guest room. And I was kind of surprised that you seem so squeamish about it. This whole idea of monogamy and non-monogamy. So why does a sex toy have to be monogamous? I mean, the caller was going to clean the thing. And there's a bunch of people out there who actually like the idea of maybe using somebody else's cleaned sex toy. How is it different than sharing partners? Long as it's consensual and honest, rehome the thing.
And we are going to leave it there. Got a question for me? Go to savage.love/askdan to record and upload your question directly onto our website. Or you can make a voice memo on your very own phone and email us your question to q@savage.love. Or you can call us at 206-302-2064 and leave us a message on our very old-fashioned answering machine. Hump's fall lineup premieres in just 4 short weeks. We are bringing 22 brand new, hot, wild, mind-blowing films to more than 40 cities. These films will go down in Hump history as some of our hottest, wildest, most hilarious Hump films ever. You don't want to miss it. Go get your tickets now at humpfilmfest.com. And we are making room for new merch with a summer blowout sale on our Fuck This Shit t-shirts. Buy one, get one free. Get yours now at savagelove.shop. And coming back soon by popular demand, ITMFA t-shirts. That stood originally for Impeach the Motherfucker Already, and it was a great conversation starter in 2018. Now we're letting you decide what the I stands for. Indict, incarcerate, something else. MF, of course, still stands for that motherfucker. Follow me at Blue Sky at Dan Savage. Follow me on Instagram at Dan Savage, also on Threads. Follow Erika Moen on Instagram at Erika Moen, and on Blue Sky and Substack at Erika Moen. And if you're not already one of her followers and patrons, become one now, become both now by going to her website, erikamoen.com. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and Nancy and the tech-savvy at-risk youth. We will all be back at you next week for an installment of the Savage Lovecast. Thank you for downloading.